Well, we're here going to make a video about making a wheel pattern. I have the original one wheel that I made from aluminum. It's right here. And I'm going to make a match plate using urethane plastic, a special plastic that's used for making patterns. And I'm going to show how that's made and how you do all of that, how you make the molds and so on. I'm not a big advocate of the flat back wheel because our wheels generally are 3/4 of an inch thick, wide, thick, or whatever, and that only gives you 3/4 of an inch bearing on the axle, a 3/4 inch key, long key, and I like to have a little bit more. I give it another, I go up to 1.25 inches, which is an additional 3/8 of an inch. So I have 1.25 inches, or no, 1 1/8 inches, I'm sorry, 1 1/8 inches, a wider hub anyway, and I feel it's a little bit better. Then secondly, when you contour both sides of the wheel, you have that much less material in there, and you say, well, what the heck does that matter? Well, yeah, it does matter, because one is you don't have to cut the whole back all the way down. You're only cutting the rim and the center, and secondly, it uses less material. Or it's, when you go to get the castings made and you get lots of them, like we used to get at Mercer, we used to get a barrel full of them, 55-gallon drum. A considerable amount of difference in the weight. Because at one point I had all these wheel patterns, and I got one set cast that was flat back, and I machined these wheels because I had them. Well, I had two 5-gallon buckets full of chips. And I did what, 50 wheels a while back, a year or so ago, and I only had that much chips. So it does make a difference. But anyway, what we're going to do now is this is the wheel, and it's aluminum casting, or aluminum pattern piece. It actually was a casting that I machined. Okay, now I got that bolted to the board. There's a bolt on the back. Right there's a bolt, goes through, and I got these parallels here to hold it up against away from the board. And I'm going to put a framework around this, and then I'm going to pour in the urethane to make a mold. And that's the best way to do it, I think. And what happens now is I'm going to have the front part and then the back part. Then I'm going to show how you inset it into the match plate so you get the front and the back. So it's much easier, let's throw it on a match plate, bing, boom, put some nails in it, and it's all flat on the back, and that's the easy way to go. And you say, hey, what the heck's the difference? You don't see the inside. Well, I think it's better to have them contoured on both sides, and for the reasons I've given. So, now, I have what's called a alcohol lamp, and that's on, believe it or not. It's alcohol, denatured alcohol, and I had this is a regular pattern one. I've had this for years. And we have a stylus ball, this is for a 1/4 inch ball, 1/8 inch radius. This is a 1/16, which is an 1/8 inch here. And I have some other bigger ones. This is a bigger one. And then I have some other stuff that I use, like the scraper, that I just took a piece of, believe it or not, that's a piece of spring stock that I cut off, and I radius the end so I scrape around. So I'm going to show now how I put the radius around using wax. Now, you just can't use candle wax. Forget candle wax. It's a special wax, okay? I've had this roll for 30 years, this roll of wax. And if you can see on here, that's how much I've used. It was up to the top here. That's how much I used off the wax. It's incredible. I leave it in here, and I just pull a piece out, break it off, and now I'm going to show you what I do here. Okay. I heat the ball. I use the big ball first. Eventually, I don't really want any radius there. Very, very little. So what I'm going to do is I want the gap filled underneath here, because the plastic is so fine, it gets all the detail, the urethane, it will seep underneath there and cause me to have a problem removing the mold. So I want it sealed. And by the way, I put a piece of plasterline here. This is the bolt head. I counterbored it here, counterbored it, and I put some plasterline in there, and the stuff won't stick to that. I'm going to wax this up anyway. Okay, so now what you do is you take the ball, and you can't use a candle on this. You think you can use a candle? You can't use a candle either, because what the problem with the candle is it makes black on the. I tried it, so I'm going to heat that ball up, and then I initially knocked down, because this particular wax for the 16th radius is round. The other waxes that I have, they have a little bit of a radius to them. They're radiused off. And I have different sizes. And I also have some leather too. Now leather, I use the leather fillet for when I make a permanent pattern. This is not going to be a permanent pattern. This is going to be a temporary pattern that I'm using for just to get the masters done. And you just press it down. Press it down. Press it all down. Alright, then, believe it or not, it's hot. It gets hot after a while. You don't see that flame up there, but it's there. Now I'm going to use the other side. And we're going to knock it down and just get smaller radius there, you know. Now I could actually leave that radius there, because when I go to do the castings, that'll make a radius on it, and I can just mount that, and I don't have to worry about putting I won't have to worry about putting wax around it, but I like to do it anyway because it seals it, see. Alright, now, pick your, and scrape it, see. Scrape it. I use it flat to it, and then I have a little radius on it. Sometimes you want to heat that. It's cold out. Here, you know, we have winter here in New Jersey right now. And keep working it down. By the way, this surface here is some shells I had. It's got a melamine coating on the top of it, and that's pretty good stuff for making these little match plates. It's smooth, and I can wax it up, and it's all ready to go. I don't have to worry about taking a piece of plywood and then preparing it with. You'd have to make lacquer it and sand it and all that stuff. This is already done for you. You gotta make sure you get that down tight, because if you don't, what happens is it just comes right off. It probably will come off. It probably will come off when I demold it, but who cares? By then it's already molded in, so it doesn't make any difference. All right, well, I'm going to continue on this, and. Well, I'm going to continue on this, and then I'm going to show what I do about making how I make the frames for it, and waxing it up and so on, and the process all the way through to the final match plate. So, we'll see in a little bit. Well, I got the wax all done, and you could put some lacquer on it if you wanted to. I may do that, I don't know. It's really not necessary, because we're going to make one quick mold off it, and we're using here, it's the urethane parting stuff that the company that we're using, the urethane, the type of urethane we're using is called BCC Products. Now, somebody out there, the pattern makers, are going to tell me, oh, you can get that stuff from Freeman. Well, Freeman is the big company. Here's Freeman stuff here. I use their lacquer. Here's Freeman lacquer. 90-1 lacquer. I use gray, everything's painted gray. The metal doesn't know the difference in the color. You want to go through all that trouble of painting them all different colors, and yellow for the cores and the red for the finish and black for the pattern and all of that. The metal don't know the difference what color it is. All you got to do is take, when you know there's a core on there, you take a magic marker and you put some stripes on it, or put a mark there, core. The pattern maker, I mean the foundry men are not dummies. Anyway, using the BCC wax, we got to wax this to basically stop the urethane from sticking to it. So I'm just waxing it up here. Wax the whole board, and of course the metal on the top, on the sides, good. And we're going to buff it a little bit. Let it dry up a little bit. Okay, now while we're waiting for that to dry, I want to show you the frames.